If you are someone who has always struggled in the ACT math section and just been really shocked, especially with this new math, about these new ACT math problems, today we are covering just a couple problems from the June ACT test in 2026. I personally took it. I paid for the release test. I cannot give it away. I am an ACT affiliate, so we're able to use this with our tutoring clients. So you're welcome to reach out on our website or check out Death Math that has a lot of kind of bits and pieces of explaining these hard ACT math problems. But these are the 4 ACT math problems that stumped so many kids on the June ACT. This is a really good video for you to pause and attempt and then work through them with me. And please don't forget to hit subscribe so that we can keep making these videos and share this with you. But without further ado, let's get started. So with the June ACT and ACTs in general, the math section is challenging for most kids. It's not impossible, but there's always feeling like there's kind of plot twist in there, which is fair. And so I want to just kind of touch on a couple of key questions so that you can apply it just for your knowledge base for later tests. And typically on the ACT math, it starts out a little bit easier and then gets harder. But there was a couple other, couple of challenging questions really early on in this test, and I kind of found it interesting. So I want to highlight just kind of a couple of them. And if you have more questions, let me know in the comments. So the first one to highlight is going to be number 12. And it's pretty early on to be highlighting as one of the hard ACT math questions, but this is a trig thing. And if you're wondering what is all the trig information you need to know for the test, long story short, there's a lot out there. The key things are going to be your law of cosines, your law of sines, your SOHCAHTOA, and this is also a good formula. So this one right here is given of sine of x squared equals sin over 18. What is the value of cosine squared x? And this is one that if you know this already, it's actually an easy question, but if you've never been exposed to it, it's way harder. So the formula that they're referring to that we need to reference here is the sine squared x plus the cosine squared x. And I know it looks a little funky, but the little caret is to the power of equals 1. And so what that means is if you're adding sine squared x plus cosine squared x, it's going to equal 1. And so how this is relevant is we have most of the equation here. So in this situation, we have 10 over 18. We do not have this one, and y'all probably get how to do this now, but just in case, and it's equal to 1. So to find this cosine x squared, all you have to do is figure out what you have to add to sine x squared or sine squared x. It's hard to say it that way, to total it to equal 1. So looking at this question right here is if your sine is this, the 10 over 18, and you need a 1, the only logical answer is you keep the same denominator because it's a fraction. It's going to be b. It's one of those, it can be really hard for many kids, but it also can be easy for certain kids too. My second of the 4 ones I'm going to highlight today is going to be number 18. And it's one of those that it's not too hard. It just looks scary. And that's what you see a lot with the ACT. So given that so with number 18, this is one where it looks actually a lot harder than it is because you've got all these weird things and maybe you understand probability or maybe you've never seen it before. But even if you've never seen this before, this is one where you've got to take that stress level you have because you don't recognize it and just kind of put it to the side for the moment. So if you look at this formula here, it kind of gives it all away. So what they're saying here is that we just have to find this symbol, which is right here. And then what's going to be your top number is going to be the 7 over 20. And then the p parentheses b right here is going to be 1/2. And of course, because you guys are really smart and you're using your calculators, you hopefully know, and if you don't know, I'm going to show you real quick, I can actually do all of the work here. So on my calculator here, it looks slightly different because the way it's organized. But on this calculator, if you go second alpha, I'm going to type in everything and I'm going to make it do all the hard work for me. And then we're going to go divided by, just like it is there, second alpha. And then we'll go 1/2. And that is going to equal G7/10. So our third one is deceiving. And this one, I was actually like 30 minutes ago sitting down with my AP stat teacher, who we were like looking through this test. And her and I were kind of going back and forth, like how to solve it. So this is one where they actually give you all the hints, and it's really dangerous to oversolve this. I think the easiest way, and her and I were disagreeing, like she had her own like solving method for it, and that's totally fine. But I think the easiest way is actually not solving with one. This one is logic and like going logic based. And the ACT does a good job of kind of testing kids' logic, testing their reasoning, and testing like how they're thinking through these problems. So in number 31, the probability that a certain basketball player will make any given free throw is 0.9, and successive free throws by this player are independent. What is the probability that this player will make at least one of her next 3 free throws? So on this problem here, what they're saying is you got to define a couple of terms. So independent just means that they don't affect each other, just like other things are independent. So we know that each time that the basketball player is like going up to the net, they're going to have like a 90% chance, at least in the study, of getting that free throw. So if you think about it this way, is if they are shooting this 3 times and that 0.9 is really independent of each other, it better not go below 0.9 if they're going to make at least 1 out of the 3. They are extremely likely to get it in the basketball hoop, which if it was given to me, it would be like, actually be like F, like 0.009. It's bad. I'm terrible at basketball. I'm really short. So on this one here, you can oversolve this to the cows come home, but you just need to make sure you're not going below 0.9. And the only option and the correct answer on this one is going to be J. If you are someone who like would prefer to solve it, let me know in the comments and we can do another version of that, or at least see if we can get it explained a little bit thoroughly. But for time's sake, this is the most logical option. Okay, so 34 is going to be the last of these like 4 challenge problems, especially to know before your ACT. Are these problems going to ever appear again? I don't know. But the skills within it is actually what matters. And that's why I'm like highlighting these 4 problems. So on this problem here, you've got 2 ways to solve. And this is where it was really helpful. Me and my like main math teacher, the one I mentioned earlier, we're kind of going back and forth on it, is when I did this on the test, I like guess and checked. But the problem is like your easy guess and checking is on like C and D, and those are the wrong answers. So it kind of like is out the window. So this is what I find the simplest way to solve it. And Linda, if you're ever watching this video, thank you. This made a whole lot of sense and I like the method she did it. So for this problem here, you do have more than one way to solve it, but the simplest way after we wrote it out is going to be clearing out that square root. So we're going to square each side. And then what that is going to look like is going to be c to the power 4 equals, and then when you get over here, that is going to just leave that 16c. Obviously, you're not done. And what you need to do next is just divide by c, which is going to be c to the power of 3 because of the subtraction rules for exponents. And that's going to be 16 there. So if you look at your options, because you will have to cube root it, the answer is going to be B. If you have a better way to solve it, let me know in the comments. There is more than one way to solve these problems. And more importantly, I have so many views on my videos, but a lot of people are not subscribing. So if you would consider subscribing, that would be super awesome for our team. And if you really want to work with us, I'm going to drop our test prep page below and also our ACT Deaf Math course that's really explaining some of these like harder like trig and all these topics of how to best solve these and tackle these on your next ACT. But for everybody else, I hope to see you soon and good luck on your ACT.